Hey guys, Adam with Splendid Sports. We're back. Dylan, Double D Vintage Baseball Cards. We're back for a Turn Back the Clock number 37. Dylan, how we doing, man?
Doing fantastic. Glad to be here. Excited.
How are the waves out in Hawaii? I've heard some things that there's some big waves right now.
Waves have been absolutely pumping for a month straight. We got another huge swell coming in on Wednesday, so it doesn't end over here. I surfed for probably 2 hours today, and I want to lay down on the couch and take a nap. And it's been really fun. It's been a great season.
Nice. Well, this is the first Turn Back the Clock of 2025. This is one that I wanted to do for a while. It's kind of been I've mentioned my uncle's cards, his collection that I have a few times over the last few years, but just kind of never really talked too much about it. But I want to take a few minutes and just kind of tell that story. It's fitting because I sent you. I don't know if you want to show it now, but I sent you one of his cards. Let me put you on solo here. There you go. There it is.
Beautiful.
1941.
59 Fleer, 1941 season at Ted Williams. And what Adam didn't realize when he sent me this card, how perfect. I always say it, cards find you at the right time, at the right moment. I was literally, I went through my Fleer set just like that prior month. And I had graded, I bought a whole bunch more. And I sold off the ones that I didn't want in his story, in Ted Williams' story. I decided to just keep certain ones. And so I had made the labels for these and I hadn't slabbed them up. And the cards just arrived at the exact same time Adam sent me this, so I can complete my binder set of the Ted Williams, the ones that I want that tell a story. And this one that he sent me, the 1941, the greatest season ever, where he batted 406, it was the only one on my list that I didn't have yet, and I wanted it. So when he sent me this, the meaning of it goes trifecta. So I'll let you talk about your uncle, obviously, because I don't know that much of the story either. But when you sent me this, it almost brought me to tears, and it meant the world to me. I showed my wife, and it was a really special moment, and timing couldn't have been more perfect.
Oh, nice, man. And I had no idea that. I just saw that card, and I thought of you because you're a big Ted Williams fan. I know you're a big fan of that 41 season, and that card was centered.
Dude, it is. It's dead centered.
So, and it had all the cards in my uncle's collection, which I'll mention here. They were all the way that you had heard, how kids took care of their cards back then. They were bent in half and everything. And that's actually one of the nice things about it for me is that, well, let me get into it first. So on the back of that card, let me show one here. I got a bunch here, but I'll show this one first. So this is one. This is I love this card anyway, but this was in his collection, the 51 Bowman Yogi Berra, and it's the Bruce Vergnani. Tough last name to pronounce, but his name was Bruce Vergnani. His collection. This is a 51 Bowman. Look at the love that was put into that card. Probably went through the washing machine, folded up. Who knows? But you see on the back there. He lived from 1942 to 1964, and this card, I always loved this card. And then when I found this one in there, it was like, wow, man, this is great.
Yeah, that's pretty special right there.
Yeah. So basically, you saw there, he passed away young. So born in 42, in 64, man, it was I think it was April. I loved my grandparents. This is my mom's brother, and he was her older brother. She was I think she was 16 at the time, and he was 22. But man, I love my grandparents. I had such a great relationship with them, and look, as you get older, you start to get more interested in your family history. It's just strange how that you just want to learn more and more, not just about the people that you love in your family, but also what were the people you didn't get a chance to meet or their parents. And so I've always kind of wondered about him. I never had an uncle. I wondered what it would have been like to have an uncle. But in 1964, he and a friend Now, my uncle was just engaged, just got engaged. You know, people got married and engaged pretty young back then, 22. Yeah. His buddy, his friend that was with him was, I think, around the same age, and he was already married with kids. And they both were served their country. My uncle was a medic in the Army. So his friend was in the service too. So they were big outdoorsmen. You know, they loved doing all kinds of things, including fishing. And they went out, they took a boat out on Boston. I think they went out of Boston Harbor. 1964 was April, cold waters. It was a nice day too, apparently, what everyone says, but they never made it back. They went out fishing out in the Atlantic there, and it was crazy, man. As I'm reading, like, there's newspaper clippings and all this stuff, there was a big search for like weeks, and they never, no one ever knows. No one ever found out really what happened. But yeah, both of them lost their lives that day. And they were, he was 22, and man, it was just devastating. My mom and my grandparents, I was born 17 years later, and his name, as I showed, was Bruce. That became my middle name when I was born, 17, 18 years later. That was my middle name. They named me Bruce, middle name. And they would always say, like, when I was younger, I looked just like him,
Dude,
not so much now, but
on the photo, yeah.
I'll put I got to thank MagPro. Zion Case's MagPro made me these labels for free. I mentioned this on another episode you and I did, and they watched it, and they reached out to me and said, hey, we'd love to make you a special label for your uncle's collection. And so I got to thank them so much for that. That was really awesome. But, they didn't talk too much about him, as you'd imagine. It's just a devastating thing. And, my grandparents, as I remembered them, were always so happy, and now I look back and like, man, how did they get through that? It's crazy. And my mom's always, she still cries to this day, all these years later whenever he's brought up. So it was a really hard thing for them in the family. But me, I never met him, so I'd hear about him and I'd wonder. And obviously it's not something you really want to talk too much about. But flash forward to like 10 years ago. I think it was about 10 years ago. My mom gets a call from one of her cousins. And apparently when they were younger, Bruce was really good friends with this cousin. And he was just calling her up. And it wasn't even for this. But as they were talking, he said, oh, you know what? I have had a box of your brother's baseball cards in our attic ever since basically it happened. Like, whatever happened, somehow he got his cards and they just sat there. So my mom called me up. It was like, he said he will send them out. Do you have any interest in them? I'm like, yeah, yeah, send those out. So anyway, sent out a box, and I'll show a few here. So I got these about 10 years ago, and I want to credit these cards really like spirited me into buying more vintage cards. Just being able to like hold these cards. There was football cards too. Jim Brown.
Put yourself on the solo.
Yeah, I'll put solo. Football card. One of the best football cards here. Jim Brown. I believe second year card. Just awesome. I mean, this card, Ernie Banks, the Hustler. I credit this one for making me want to get the whole subset of these. Oh, yeah. But look at that, just who knows what these cards went through when he had them. But just the idea of having cards that were he probably opened them from packs, like the original owner, and it's my uncle who I never met. Just really cool. I mean, there was some Mickey Mantles in there, not the most famous Mickey Mantles, but the baseball scoops. There was another one. He had doubles of this one, and I gave one to my nephew. Wow. So I was trying to spread these around where I can, just to get him out there, keep his name alive, and honor his memory, a life that he never really got a chance to get into too much. So, cards like these, 61, or I think 61 Fleer, Lou Gehrig, some other cool ones here. Let me see. Oh, this is one of the coolest. This is from that same set, right? Or this is what, 61 Fleer, right?
That's 61. The other one's 60.
Yeah, 60. You know what was really cool about this one? The back, it's a checklist. He checked it off. I'm guessing that was him, So that's him, right? Marking it off in pencil there, the cards he had from the set. And I have a whole box of them. So, long story short, I sent you that one because I just thought it would be cool to get one of his cards out. I mean, if you could have told him back then, hey, one of your cards is going to make it out to Hawaii and it's going to go up on the wall, a great wall of cards, that I thought that would be pretty cool. So I'm glad it hit home with you too. So
it really hit home. And knowing that he touched these cards, he played with these cards, I can imagine the day you got that box going, dude, there could be a 52 mantle in here.
Yeah.
You mean, I thought I would have been freaking out. And then later realizing that it really didn't matter what was in there. It was more of this fact that your uncle had touched them and played with them. And you got more and more into cards because of those. And now you see them in a different light. Like if these were in mint condition, they wouldn't mean nearly as much. Like if this thing was perfect condition, not bent in half and used, it just wouldn't.
Right.
You know that he played with this. He probably had this card in his pocket. How else do you bend a card in half?
Right.
Know?
Right.
Like, he probably carried this with him at some point. It's really awesome. And I'm glad we're doing this episode because I can finally put these in my binder and really enjoy them in my collection. And then when I do a display, I'll send you the photo of
that'd be great. Yeah. Yeah. And you're so right. It kind of, I wanted to mention this too, because it really, it tells the story of vintage cards. Like you said, if they were all like in great condition, I would be like, how is that even possible? And then the fact that they're all beat up and, just I know how they got beat up and who beat them up.
Who beat them up. That's
because all these vintage cards I have, I always wonder, I wish I could know like the journey that this card's been on, and here I go. I do know somewhat the journey, and it just shows you that if I put these cards on eBay, they probably wouldn't even get a bid, these type of cards. But to me, they're priceless, and just that I think that says a lot about the hobby, that we create our own value in our own collections, and it might not be valuable to other people, but really the cards are a way to honor your family, your friends, your memories, the past, and there's no better ones in my collection than these. So I definitely I've been thinking about making a video about this, and I'm like, I really kind of want to do it with Dylan at the same time. So I'm like, let's just do it on a turn back the clock. And I know it's probably not everyone's cup of tea.
I'm honored you did it with me too, because it means a lot to me since we're friends. And also, I know what cards I'm putting side by side now because of how your uncle passed away. He was fishing, and Ted Williams loved fishing. So, I mean, it's quite the story. It's pretty crazy. And your uncle does look a lot like you. And he looks like a mobster, like a full movie. He looks like a movie character. It's really awesome.
I got to show you that. Okay, so now he grew up in Brockton, Massachusetts. Anyone from that area, it was a nice town back then, apparently. But yeah, it's kind of, that's a mobster town. As far as you look at this picture right here. Ready? Let me see if I can share it. So this is the original picture that I pulled the photo. So to get his face on the thing here. Check out the photo that my mom's friend randomly found or something. Let's see if I can do it. Here we go. Okay, there it is. Let's see.
Dude, that's him right in the front.
Yep. So that's him right there. Kim from MagPro was able to pull it and create an awesome label. But yeah, look at that crew right there, man. This guy,
like Motley Crue right there. That's
1958,
awesome.
January 1958, right here. Check out this guy. He looks like that might be Rocky Marciano right there, the famous boxer from Brockton. But look at that crew. No, I think he's the only one smiling somewhat in the whole photo.
Yeah, he really is. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, it's just like I love looking at old stuff like that.
Yeah,
look at these guys.
That's real special.
But it's a sad story. But at the end of the day, kind of took a nice turn as far as being able to honor him in this way and having a bunch of his cards. So definitely a story worth telling for me.
Absolutely.
By the way, you had that card up,
dude. I just saw you flick that thing up. See?
Talk about a haunting card, man. He went out fishing and lost his life, and this was one of the cards in his collection right here.
That's insane right there. That is absolutely insane.
Yep.
Wow.
And there was even, I mean, he had football cards, also like these Indian gum cards from the Gaudi company.
Oh,
This
those
is
are sick.
he had a bunch, I mean, not just baseball cards. I have a whole box. There's all a bunch of this is Powhatan. It's let's see. Pocahontas, the father of Pocahontas right
Oh
here.
my gosh, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
And, you know, Indian gum from Boston, Gaudi Gum Company right there. So
That makes
these,
that
I
makes
don't
me
know
want
what
to
year,
buy
but
that card.
yeah.
It must be like 33. I mean,
Yeah,
it looks like
30.
33 anyways from
Yeah. So it makes me wonder, like, how did he get this car? You know, he lived from, you know, I guess they were selling packs or he traded for it or whatever. But yeah, there
awesome.
was a bunch of, I mean, just like one other one too. Where was it? Well, they have these like, oh, just random like these United States cards from
No way.
60 something tops, you know, just cool
Wow.
stuff. Yeah, so he was all into, you know, he had all sports, basketball, football, not much basketball, but football, baseball, there was like movie cards in there, like old, you know, Western movie cards and stuff. So it's cool, man. So I just used that opportunity to put them up into these Mag Pros, and I got a bunch in the box too, but yeah, I'll keep looking to spread the collection around where I can, you know, where it makes sense. So
That's really cool. Really
yeah.
awesome.
So yeah, that's good. I'm going to title this episode with his name so that
Great.
he'll live on Google, man. If anyone ever types in his name, like, you know, when someone passes away back then, it's like there's almost no record of that person anymore online.
Yeah,
So now I can create this video here, and anyone types in his name on Google, at least this will pop up. So who knows?
that's great. That's awesome.
Yeah. All right. So what else? I want to talk also about. I saw you did a video, I think it was today, where you recently hit 3 years on YouTube. That's a big number. I mean, that's an achievement to do anything consistently, but you know, to make videos and to do it, I think we both have kept doing it. I hit 3 years last year in July, so I'll be hitting 4 years in July this year. But I think you could tell me, but I think we've probably just kept doing it because of all the friendships and all the fun we're having, really, right?
100%. It's
Yeah.
pure enjoyment. It's really fun to share your collection, and for me, I watched my first video today and I downloaded it and I was gonna repost it, but I couldn't figure out how to do it before I posted my first video I did 3 years ago. Just I wanted to hear what I had to say. And my opinions, like, I come right out of the gates talking about value of baseball cards, and now it's a marriage. Now I'm an investor and a collector, and it was fun to go back and watch the whole thing, embarrassing as it may be. And I didn't even know how to, because I did this by myself. I didn't even know how to say Goudy. I said Goody forever. When I was with my friends, when we were opening packs of Goody, Upper Deck 2008, like that's what we called it. I didn't know I wasn't talking to any other collectors, so it's like it was really funny. And I called it Goudy and Goody in that video, and I was like, dude, I didn't know. And
Cover all your bases. You know, you got it one way or the other. You hit it right. So.
I did, yeah. So funny. So it's been a pleasure. And then you also hear me in that video talk about, you know, I collected off-centered cards top to bottom, 8 OCs. And I always went for the top to bottom ones. And then from there to now, to see the transition of my collection in general, it's exponentially better. Like it literally, when I look at my collection, it feels like a masterpiece. It's much more organized, and every single card has a purpose. Before I mean, there's nothing wrong with just buying cards and looking at them, buying it because you love it, and doesn't need to be a player run. It doesn't need to be a certain year, certain set. But I really have this focus now, and that's all because of YouTube and watching other people do their videos and being inspired and getting ideas from people. It's been like this 3 years. As we get older, time goes way too fast. I just want to hit the button and go back down to childhood time when it went really slowly. Every day took forever. Now every day feels like an hour. So the last 3 years flew by, and it's been absolutely amazing. Like I'm going to continue to do this until I do not like doing it anymore. I don't see a time when that's going to happen. If it does, it does. It doesn't, it doesn't. I love it. What have your been big takeaways over the last 3-4 years you've been doing it?
Well, I was going to ask you too, like, because a lot of it is connecting and getting, not only, I mean, I built a lot of my channel on bringing other people on my channel and having conversations through, 3 and 3s or turn back the clocks, because I really wanted to talk with people. I really wanted to talk with other collectors because I had all these thoughts in my head, like after just not knowing anyone who collected cards, and then getting back into it and really still not knowing anyone, but listening to these like podcasts and stuff where I'd hear people say things and I'd be like, wait a minute, what? And then I'd want to like talk to them about it, right? But you can't through a podcast or whatever. So I was like, all right, I got to start my own, because I don't know how to like talk with people. But if I just go out there and start talking, then maybe it will lead to this, So luckily it did. But that was a lot of it. Was just like you have all this energy in your head about thoughts or questions. A lot of it was like questions like, why is this? Or just stuff that didn't make sense, and not really having anyone to talk to about it. So I've really happy with what I've been able to do there. I mean, that was my main goal, is to, I didn't even go as far as to think I'd ever make friends. I mean, like, that's
100%.
That's been a bonus to actually make friends like you. Me, it was just like, if I could just connect with some people, I don't know if we'll ever be friends, but just to connect with people that also collect cards, that would be the win right there. And I've obviously done that many, many times over, and I never could have imagined what would become of it here, where you actually go to a national and meet all these people like I did 2 years ago. And we'll hopefully go to other shows now in the future, maybe not a national, but go to other local shows where I am and meet up with other YouTubers and collectors. So, yeah, I mean, what I was going to ask you is, do you remember the first person or people who commented on your videos, like when you started putting it out there? Do you remember who was like early on commenters?
I sent my video to Mike Moynihan, and then I think he probably shot it around. So he was very kind, watched my video. Mm-hmm. And then he told me, he's like, dude, you got to turn your camera the other way. Yeah. I filmed it vertically, like not everyone, but a lot of people do their first time. I don't know. You don't know. I never even used YouTube in my life. Just, I just barely started watching at that point, maybe 6 months. At that point, it was more podcasts for years, listening to some. But I didn't like when I got on there. Well, Nate, Tops 85401. He's the number one guy who he blew my mind. I woke up the next morning watching, eating breakfast and watching this guy talk about me the next day after I made a video. But what I found out after I told my wife just recently, when I said, hey, I'm at 3 years, and I was on with Dan and Orlando the other day.
That was a great live. That was awesome.
It was so fun. It was so fun. Well, my wife's like, dude, you did you not tell them that I got you one of the circle lights? That's why you did it, because I bought you a circle light for Christmas so you would make videos. That's what she was telling me. I go, I didn't even know. I didn't remember that. So I have to give her even more credit. I always gave her credit, but she really pushed me. And I didn't get on YouTube to make friends. There was none. That was not in my mind. That was not in my thoughts. My reasoning to get on here was to share my collection and share my opinions about collecting, get my thoughts out to the world and interact. Yes, but I didn't know how far it would turn into. And going to the national and meeting these people, it's like there was no awkwardness. You're like best friends right out of the gates. Like last night we went to a friend's house and our neighbor's house, and they had friends come over, and it's like one of those things where you have to really like make conversation, whether you want to or not. You have to try, and you're like, and I'm drinking, so it's it's easier and just like it's more fun. But when you make friends in the card community, or you just met someone and they're a collector for the first time, you could talk for hours and hours about cards, and it feels like you've known each other forever. So
that's such a cool thing you said there, and it's so true, because I've thought that too. Like, your friends from when you grew up, the ones that you could go years without talking to them, but it's never awkward. You get right back on the phone, or you see them, and it's like you pick right back up where you were, and there's always something to talk about. It's just, and even if you're not talking every second. It's like you don't feel uncomfortable because you know each other so well. But then you get older, and sometimes you make friends through work or situations that maybe aren't organic. And some of them go well, but then some of them are like, it feels like work. It feels like I have to expend a lot of energy to make this thing happen, and it's like at a certain point, like whatever. But then you're right. People in the card community, it's like it just feels like friends that you grew up with almost, even though you just met them because of that common, whatever it is about cards. Is just something there where maybe because it's something not everyone does. It's not a common thing. If you look at the general population, it's a very minute, small percentage that knows anything about cards or let alone collects cards now. But when you do meet people like that, it's such a thing in common that I think it just makes everything flow. I don't know.
Yeah, you nailed it. Exactly. I mean, don't get me wrong. I had a blast last night, but it isn't the same. It isn't easy to make new friends, and I don't want to make new friends.
Right.
No, I don't. I like making new card friends because we can hang out and talk cards, but in the real life, it can be a drag. It's a lot of work. But yeah, I love it. I love it. It's been great.
And I get a credit. I really think it was you that with YouTube. I mean, because I started doing a podcast again. I just wanted to like my goal was like I want to talk to some people. How do I talk to some people? And it was like during COVID and stuff. So it's like it's got to be through online or whatever. It's like I'm not really going out of the house as much.
Yeah.
Just had kids and my I was like a hermit during COVID. I didn't want to do anything. So it was like, well, how do you get connections? Well, it was like I'll do a podcast and I'll just have guests on that they're forced to talk to me. Like I'll have a guest. So worked with that. But then with podcasts, you don't really get like comments or a lot of feedback. So it's a good conversation. But then I go on YouTube and I was like, well, I guess I could try that same approach. But at first I was like, let me just throw some other just me videos out there. But then I'm like, well, how is it? No one's gonna see these. How is anyone gonna even know I did it? But you somehow found me, and you left multiple comments on my videos, and then you shared it out. I believe you had already made connections. So next thing you know, I'm doing these 3 and 3s, and you were the first one. So I have to credit you the most with really allowing me to get to know people on YouTube. Otherwise, I don't know. Maybe sometimes I think, I don't know, if I just did a bunch of videos and like no one even commented, I might have just stopped. I don't know, because I'm like, well, I can get my thoughts out, but if no one's watching or no one's commenting, then maybe I'll just say, well, it was worth a try, But thank you to you that now here I am. I'm having a good time with it. Like I'm like you. I don't know how often I'll do the solo videos in the future. I mean, where it makes sense or when I can. I always want to do these, but yeah, I already feel like I've gotten way more out of this than I ever thought I would. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
This is like a love fest because I'm the one that was banging down your door, begging to be on your show. I was like, dude, your podcasts were amazing. They hit the spot for me. I love them. Your energy, something was about you. And you're the one that gave me the confidence. You reached out to me after and said, yeah, why don't we do a show together? Turn back the clock. And I'm like, you want to do a show with me? I thought you were like this famous YouTube or podcaster. You had all these famous people coming on your show. And you're asking me, you gave me the confidence to speak my mind even louder and more publicly and just really dive into my thoughts because you gave me the confidence and like you thought it would be fun and you thought I'd be good at it. And I think I that means the most to me. Like, I think this is a love fest because I credit you for my success. So,
well, I was like, I like talking to this guy. So let's do it. Let's force him into talking with me every couple of weeks,
It's so good.
Yeah. So it's it's all been fun. And it goes by quick, man. 3-4 years or whatever already gone by. And still I still have videos in my head that like I got to do that. I want to do one on that. And I still haven't done them. So it's like, I have ideas forever, that you could do with this. It's just a matter of, doing it.
I mean, I literally thought about this year. I'm like, I could just do a top 10 video every week, top 10 pitching top 10 hitting like
Oh, yeah.
poses. Like you can go on, and I love that stuff. And I'm a solo video guy. I like doing that. I like holding my cards and videoing them and looking at them because I watch my own videos. Not I don't listen to myself speak, but I watch my own videos because I like looking at my cards. It sounds nuts, but it's a great way for me to document my collection. So I really enjoy it. Obviously, I like these turnback clocks more than any of them. It's just because we just can talk about whatever we want.
Yeah.
So I don't know what else you have planned, but I want to show a couple more gifts that you sent me.
Okay.
And they really hit the spot for me as well, which is just insane. So you sent me this Pedro Martinez 1991 Upper Deck, the extra edition. They came in a box set form, and I had one in a PSA 10, and I sold that thing when I went on this whole kick of getting rid of all that stuff. I sold it for like $100 and something during the peak or whatever it was. And to have this thing back in one of your slabs, knowing you're a Pedro guy, and you probably got rid of him because he's on the Dodgers, but it's freaking awesome. And this is the very first box set I ever purchased in my life. I hated sets. I'm not a set guy. I hated those box sets. I get one from my grandma every year, and it's just like, what am I going to do with this thing? I would just pull out the Jose Canseco's and the Ken Griffey Jr.'s or any of the cards I wanted. But I did buy this, and I still have this set in a box upstairs. It's open, of course, and I don't even think the Pedro's in there anymore, as I probably ripped that thing apart. But this really meant a lot to me.
Well, I have a lot of those cards. I have a bunch of now that's technically peak junk wax 1991, but that's if you ask a Pedro collector, that's his rookie card. You know, there's other cards that claim to be the rookie card, but Hall of Fame, all-time great pitcher that has one rookie card. I don't care how many they made of them. That's the rookie card. So that's an iconic Hall of Fame rookie card right there.
I agree. It's majorly iconic. I completely agree. This is a super iconic card, and you could still get this for $1.
Yeah.
That's what I freaking love. And this looks like a perfect 10. I just don't.
Perfectly centered. I had to give you a nicely centered one. Yeah.
That's it. I mean, at one time I wanted this in a 10 and I had it, and it's ridiculous. It doesn't make any financial sense. $1 or free from your friend. Okay. So you also sent me, which no one really, some people might know this about me, but I collected basketball cards during a time, and I thought about doing a timeline. I did a genesis of my collection one time. I made like an hour and a half long video by myself, drinking, talking about the history of my collecting. And I kind of want to dive back into that at some point. But it was in 1996, probably to 1999, I started buying and collecting basketball cards. And I still have some. It was during Kobe's year, and I was opening a bunch of that stuff. And I was actually buying a bunch. I had all his refractor rookies. I had so many PSA 10 refractor Kobe rookies. I just wish I kept them. They're worth a fortune. But you sent me this sick Larry Bird combo card on the Celtics, 1981 tops, I believe this is.
Yep.
And I had the only solo vintage basketball card I owned was a Magic Johnson from 1981. I gave it to my nephew. He still has it. Slabbed up in a 7. I gave it to him. He came over here and I let him just pick whatever card he wanted, and he grabbed that one. So having this in my collection now, dead centered in a Splendid Sports slab, just awesome card.
And you said you wanted a Larry Bird card for me in a Splendid Sports set, and that was a perfect one for you because the 81 tops is such a cool set. You know, it's a for basketball. I would still consider it like a vintage basketball set. And it's a multiplayer combo card, which I know you love. So, yeah, it was perfect.
Yeah, it's really awesome. I love it. And I have a binder that it goes in. So it's just fantastic. You also sent me this Pedro Martinez Bowman's Best. I think it's 99. Oh, no, 2002.
Yes.
I should put my reading glasses on. But this thing is glorious.
Yep.
This one's numbered out of 300. Just having a Pedro from your collection really is super sick. But here, let me show you the sickest card.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's the best shine in my entire collection across the board. And it is 1999 Topps Chrome Club K. So any of the 99 Topps Chrome refractors, the insert ones, I want them all now because of this. If you had this in hand, the design with the baseball right here, this one blew my freaking mind. I mean,
Yeah.
I've already been hunting for these, and like I haven't pulled the trigger because it's a deep rabbit hole, and you can buy these ungraded for like $5, like the Clemens and stuff. And I'm like, dude, there's gonna be a time where I just unleash the beast, and I'm gonna have like the whole set.
Yeah, I think they call them all etch refractors.
Oh yeah, that's it. Yep.
They're not numbered, like you said, they're not really expensive cards, but the shine and the etching too is really outstanding, man, on those. I don't know, whatever they did that year or that set, man, they like you said, it's one of the shiniest cards ever made right there.
Yeah, I want to do an episode, whether it's with you or by myself, but probably with you because you have a bunch of modern cards. I want to do an episode that we go through our cards and we pick out the top 5 greatest shines.
I like that.
Because as someone who's, I was new at collecting the modern stuff, that's a huge thing. Like when I go through my cards, the shinier the better. And the ones from the 90s and the 2000s, some from now, they're just, some are better than others for whatever reason. Some stick out and some are less. So I'd like to do an episode about that, and maybe we could bring on like our top 5 favorite shiny cards. So when people go look, they can know like what they're buying before they get it if they've never bought modern. I would
love that.
So
by the way, the colors that were just emanating from your hand off that card on the screen, I was like, it's like something the aliens came down and left like an artifact, and that thing came out of like, how does that thing, like, oh my God, the blind, unbelievable.
Dude, it's insane. I've had this on my desk, and I just like every day I've been looking at this. It's like, oh my gosh.
And you know what? That's cards right there. That's card collecting, appreciating what a card stands for. Beat up vintage cards, what they stand for. Shiny 90s cards, what they mean in the hobby. I love it. I love all the eras. I love all the cards.
Yeah, me too.
I do. Oh, do you have any more?
I have a pickup, but I'll let you do yours, and then I'll go back to my pickup that represents our show.
Just a quick one in honor of Ricky Henderson, all-time great who passed away. I want to show, perfect for this show, my all-time, I've always loved, even more than his rookie card, I've always loved this card the most. And it's his third year card, 82 Topps. And I just love that image, him leading off, first, about to steal. And I realized, because I'm trying to collect little by little all the turn back the clock cards, the originals, and I was like, I surely have the 87, but I was like, no, I didn't. So I had to buy one for $1 off eBay. And
isn't that sick?
Here you go, right next to each other. And I got this one in a nice MagPro from Zion. And there it is, man. Look at that combo. Unbelievable.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
And so, yeah, that's what I wanted to show. I was like, how do I not have an 87 turn back the clock? I couldn't find one. And I'm like, I know I have one. So I was like, I'll just buy one for $1 off eBay. And, you got to find one that's centered, though. You look, even these cards from 87, a large percentage of them are like side to side, not centered. So I had to hunt for the right one. I got it.
Yeah, it's crazy. I feel like it's like 1 out of 10.
Yeah.
It's pretty nuts.
Yep.
Well, I'll do a Ricky tribute, too, because I bought this card, one of my favorite cards from my childhood. And the day he died, I bought this card. And this is going in my new One Touch collection where I'm not going to enter cards like this. This card was $1.50, free shipping. Oh my gosh. It's the 1991 Leaf card where the record steal where he's diving. If you're listening, I urge you to look it up because it's a beautiful card. And it'll instantly check the nostalgia button for you. Just like your last pickup hits the nostalgia button. And this one to me really hit the spot. I'm stoked to have it. So any cards that cost less than $5, I'm not going to enter them in my spreadsheet. I'm going to put them in One Touches, and they're going to be special cards like this. I have a couple more that I'm really looking forward to getting. So, and it keeps me distracted from buying other cards when I can just spend $1.50. It's pretty cool. So I've got one more card that is a card on card. The unfortunate thing is that the card that this player is holding is up in a box, so I need to get that out, and I'm going to slab it up in a MagPro. I've been looking for a Bobby Witt Jr. card. I just wanted one. I didn't want to. I'm not going to be a collector of his, but I wanted his rookie cup card in gold refractor, but it's like $150, And so I was like, so I just was randomly looking, and I saw this card, and I probably, there's no investment on this card. Like, I spent $50 on it at an auction, but it's not going to be one of those that goes up in value, but it hit the spot so well. And it's 2024 Bowman Chrome Gold, Bobby Witt Jr. holding his Bowman Chrome first card.
What?
Yeah, it's sick. And that card right there, I opened, a decent amount of those blaster boxes from my local store during that year, and I pulled 2 of the Bobby Witt Jr., the regular cards, and I looped them both, and I sent the one that I knew was going to get a 10 to PSA, and it got a 10, and I sold that for like $125 when it came back like a year ago or whenever that was. And I still have the other one that I knew wasn't going to be a 10. So I'm going to put these in a binder right next to each other. They're both Bowman Chrome. They'll go in my Bowman Chrome binder. And I just thought it was the most perfect ad. I love gold and card on card. Like, they're making card on cards now. He's holding his rookie card. It's sick.
I never knew they did that. No, I mean, that's incredible. Card on card. I'll never get tired of seeing card on card on card.
Me either. I freaking love it. Look, when people come over to my house, I had numerous people. I always say, hey, what's your favorite card on the wall? Not value, just what's your favorite looking card? You don't have, dude, there's so many people. I mean, not so many. 2 people out of like the 10 that I've seen the wall have picked the Hank Aaron, the 1974 specials where they're card on cards, where there's 4 cards.
Yeah.
They love that card. And my wife loves that card. I freaking super stoked. So that investment, but really awesome baseball card.
Love it. Oh man, another great episode. Again, tribute to Uncle Bruce.
Yeah, Bruce.
So yeah, happy that card could make it out to you, man. And yeah, it's a fun episode here. So that was episode 37. Turn back the clock. We'll be back in the near future with another one. And until then, Dylan, have a good time out in those waves. Be careful.
Will do.
All right.
Later, guys.
Later.